Hello and welcome. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. Tonight, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, says though the early signs may be confusing and sometimes discouraging, the federal government will deliver on its promise of change. Ahead of tomorrow's May Day celebrations, organized labor plans to partner with anti-graft agencies to probe state governors who are owing workers' salaries. The pilot phase of the digital switch over from analog to digital terrestrial broadcasting in Nigeria has begun with a switch on in Jos Plateau State. And thousands of Iraqi Shia Muslims breached Baghdad's fortified green zone for the first time, seizing control of parliament in protest over a political deadlock. On Business News tonight, Nigerian interbank rate falls on budgets and treasury bill funds as inflows were met with bearish sentiment.
And on Sports News, President Anthony Kojo Williams advocates for investment in school sports as a panacea for growth.
We begin tonight in Abuja, the nation's federal capital territory, where the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, says now is the best time for Nigeria to turn from its unfulfilled past to the direction of success. The Vice President was one of the speakers at the platform, a forum in Abuja which focused on the need for Nigeria to look at producing and empowering itself through new economic means. The Vice President also believes that though the early signs may be confusing and sometimes discouraging, government will deliver on its promise of change. Our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, has this report.
Nearly 4,000 participants, 9 prominent guests, including the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osibajo. They're here for the 11th edition of the platform, a forum designed to foster national development. This edition looks at stimulating Nigeria and Nigerians to find capital and resources in places once overlooked, with the theme question, "What is in your hands?" In an engaging 6-hour session, speakers encouraged participants to look for opportunities around them. But it was also a chance to look at government's efforts in building an enabling environment.
So democracy at its root is the freedom that is given to the individual spirit to dream and then to create his environment, and then for the government to catch up with the dreams of those individuals later on with legislation.
First and foremost, our entire educational system needs a rejig, a total rejig. Every single course must have an entrepreneurship content added to it. Every single course.
The same government that has a very strong anti-corruption agenda finds itself unwittingly, or in fact, wittingly, being purveyor of discretionary allocation where enormous power is being abused as a result of unmonitored, opaque, uncertain, unpredictable, inefficient, and ineffective allocation.
Delivering the keynote address at the forum, the Vice President encouraged Nigerians not to be discouraged.
We believe that though it may not be easy, though the early signs may be confusing and sometimes discouraging, there has never been a better opportunity than now to turn the country in the direction of success. Today we have the best opportunity in decades for profound change. It's an opportunity in a generation, a revolution whose time has come. Everything around us tells us that the moment is now. Can this change happen? Yes, indeed, it can. What do we have in our hands to make it happen?
The Vice President says this administration is determined not to fail on its promises. According to him, A new Nigeria is possible.
We need a new tribe. We need a new way of thinking. We need a new tribe of Nigerians across tribes and religion who believe that a nation can truly be built on integrity, on hard work, on selflessness and patriotism. Who believe that no nation can survive if its leaders are dishonest and selfish. It is that new tribe of men and women, especially the youth, who will form the vanguard of the new Nigeria. A youth who will hold leadership to account, who will not say that anyone is a sacred cow.
The Vice President also told participants that the federal government is determined to leverage technology to create the enabling environment that will stimulate youth entrepreneurship and innovation. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, has promised the people of Agatu and other local government areas affected by the herdsmen attacks in Benue State that government will rebuild destroyed public utilities in the area. This pledge was made by the Director of Communities Defense Headquarters, Major General Edward Nze, who represented the Chief of Defense Staff at a fact-finding visit to Agatu, Buruku and Taka, where many lives were lost in the wake of herdsmen attacks.
The military team deployed by the Chief of Defense Staff is here to investigate the 3-month-long attacks on Benue communities. The Benue State Deputy Governor is asking the federal government to deal with this threat, which he describes as worse than the Boko Haram insurgency.
It is our belief that a very firm action should be taken. Otherwise, we may run into a problem that is far worse than Boko Haram. Therefore, the law should take its course. And a very, very firm action should be taken to nip this at the bud.
Done with the session with the Deputy Governor, the Chief of Defense Staff team visits Taka and Buruku local government areas in company of some government officials, where 10 people were alleged to have been killed. In Agatu, atrocities allegedly carried out by herdsmen are in plain sight. Ruin and despair are visible everywhere. General Nze promises that the federal government will rehabilitate the affected communities.
Let them compile these houses, the schools that are damaged, so that we can be able to, through the member, there's somebody from Defense Headquarters representing us in the Chief of Danjuma's Northeast Rehabilitation Committee. We can submit it to them and see how they can assist in intervention to rebuild these houses and schools so that their people will quickly come back to their farms. What I've seen is just an evil act. Nobody can describe it. And we are taking the orders as given by the Commander-in-Chief that we must seek out these evil people and destroy them.
Look at how people are sleeping. No roofing on their house, there are no windows, no doors. They use an old zinc to cover windows and sleep. It's a very hazardous situation. So that's exactly what, and I'm appealing to all international agencies, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the UNICEF, to quickly come to the aid.
As the Chief of Defense Staff team departs to report its finding on the herdsmen attacks on local farmers in Benue State, survivors and victims left behind to face the harsh realities say that they need urgent help to move on with their lives.
In Yobe State, the government has visited Kanama town, the birthplace of the terrorist group Boko Haram, to distribute food and non-food items to returning internally displaced persons who have been living in neighboring Niger Republic for almost 2 years. Kanama town is located in Unisari local government area of Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, sharing boundary with the Republic of Niger, and has suffered several attacks from the dreaded sect. Presenting the relief materials, the team leader of the Resettlement Committee, Dawa Megari, said Governor Ibrahim Gaidam will, among other things, rebuild destroyed structures.
I believe some of IDPs are in Niger now, and the effort is being made to return them back, especially those two political wards, which is the chairman mentioned, is not safe enough for the IDPs to return. Inshallah, whenever our security forces assured us that the three political wards secured, I think the state government will do its utmost to see that these IDPs return to their various communities.
The Anambra State Police Command has deployed its personnel to different border points in the state following the recent attack on neighboring Nimbo community in Enugu State. Nimbo shares a common boundary with Anambra State at the Ayamelu local government area axis. Well, Mr. Hassan Kama at a one-day security awareness meeting organized by the Office of the Secretary to the Anambra State Government and the State Command of the Anambra National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, charged the people to be more security conscious.
There were no spare chairs at the Professor Dora Akunyili Women Development Center in Awka, Anambra State. The people are gathered here for a program designed to awaken their security consciousness towards community vigilance and public support for security agencies. Speaking shortly before the event, the Anambra State Commissioner of Police raised serious concerns that crime has assumed a sophisticated dimension and should be prevented at all costs.
We have quickly stepped up our own security at the border towns. As we speak now, sufficient deployment has been done at Umasi town, Yamelu, and Omobo, which has a border with Enugu and Kogi State, just to make sure they do not stray into our place. And if anybody is entering our state, he's entering for peace. But anybody coming in to foment trouble, we will make sure we block him before he starts to foment any trouble.
The State Commandant of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Sunday Ajayi, focuses on the benefits of proper update of vehicle documents, while the representative of the Commandant of the Nigeria Securities and Civil Defense Corps, Mr. Godwin Omorige, chooses to talk about achieving internal security.
We have the intelligence units that are so posted to almost all the companies where we have the private guy that understand their activities and see what they are doing and they report to our units. We make the registration of stolen vehicle difficult as the computerization of data will reveal vehicles earlier registered with other information such as the owner, the address of the owner, vehicle details, among others.
The NDLEA State Commander, Mr. Sule Mombadu, is asking everyone to use the information gathered from the seminar for a more secured Anambra State.
We trust as teachers, as principals, as civil servants, you will not let this knowledge remain with you. You will spread it to your students, you will spread it to your colleagues and take it to your community. Because this is the only way we can secure Anambra State better than it is today.
The participants have also been asked to assist the law enforcement agencies with useful information on criminals and their activities and participate actively in the security of their environment by supporting community-based vigilante groups.
In part 2, after the break, ahead of tomorrow's May Day celebrations, Organized Labour says it will partner with anti-graft agencies to probe state governors who are owing workers' salaries. Stay with us.